The first week of the month is done, and just a quick review of the books I've read so far, which is really just a trilogy of novellas by T. Kingfisher's The Sworn Soldier trilogy. I love her. She's great. I've only read her horror books, but I love them. They're wonderful. Her fantasy ones are on my to-do list for this year. Anyway, these are my very lovely covers from Owlcrate. I know it was a splurge. I don't care. They are so beautiful, but the stories are fantastic. They are basically her typical writing of some sarcastic, kind of dry, off-the-cuff humor with some really witty characters and all the really fun stuff like that. So the first one is What Moves the Dead. This is a mycology body horror. It's definitely different. It is interesting. There's a little bit of reminiscence of Last of Us. Only that there's mycology, actually. That's the only thing that's... Never mind. Maybe it's not reminiscent. It's really good, though. The main character, her friend, writes her letter and says, I'm dying. So she has to go see her friend and be like, are you actually dying? Talks with her brother. Chaos ensues. I really can't explain a lot of it away, but the characters are great. The story's great. The weird shit in it is great. It's also very weird. Kind of makes you think about mushrooms differently. Not that I was a big mushroom fan to begin with. The second one. This one is different. What Feasts at Night. This one is a ghost story. Basically involves a Moroi. So if you play Phasmophobia like I do, I got super excited that there was a Moroi and immediately was like, oh, I gotta tell my friends that there's a Moroi in this. And they also bring up a bear, but I'm like, now I know how to actually kill a Moroi, which is not going to help me in Phasmophobia whatsoever, but it's still exciting. So this one's a ghost story. She goes back to like her hometown, I guess it would be, and the guy who was taking care of her place is dead. Weird things start to happen. Da 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 da. Next, ghost story. Ghost story. How do you defeat a ghost? It's a great question. Some cool made up folklore. Last one is What Stalks the Deep. So the secondary character in this was in the first book, and he was friends with the family that the main character she went to go see, or they went to go see. He contacts her and says, I need your help. My cousin is missing. I need to find him. And this turns out to be this is another body horror. It's another body horror. It's very strange. It's a little bit of cosmic horror too. Some ancient horror, I guess. I think this one was like the longest, which doesn't mean much. It was like 170 something pages, which is still short. It was the longest of them, but I think it read the fastest. But I also feel like the climax of it was also the shortest, which was okay. I mean, there were secondary things that were happening that were really good, but overall, it was a really phenomenal series. Definitely glad that I splurged for some pretty covers, because I would love to read these again. You know, I like to wait a few years, but 10 out of 10 recommend these. These were really good. I think I gave each one like a 4 to 4.5 star, depending on which one it was. I love her. T. Kingfisher is fantastic. For my next one, I read Claw by Katie Berry, or Claw Resurrection by Katie Berry. I read it on my Kindle, so obviously I don't have the full one, but it was good. It was the third one in her Claw series. She has another series that is part of it that takes place, I don't know, it's like 100 years before all of these events. I love the series, but I just felt like this one was, I don't know. I wasn't as excited. Like, I was excited when it came out. I started reading it. I was just kind of like, it's fine. I didn't hate it. I wasn't obsessed with it like I was the other two. But continuity wise, it's obviously something to still read. Basically, the whole Claw series takes place up in British Columbia, Canada, and this little old mining town used to be a mining town, and takes place in winter, which is why I wanted to read it, because it's winter and I like to be on theme. So this little town, prehistoric animals get loose. There's a cave bear, saber-toothed cats, saber-toothed kittens, adorbs. There's dire wolves. There's these giant ancestors to raccoons. They're basically raccoons if raccoons were the size of black bears. So they're big and they're vicious and they got little fingers and things. I feel like there was something else and I'm missing it. Oh, there's like a lake monster creature of some sort. Anyway, up in the old mines that are all sealed off, there was like a earthquake that shook loose some of the cave and the creatures started coming out, wreaking havoc on the small little town. And it takes the wildlife officer and the mayor, and there's like a whole subplot with the mayor and the sheriff who were stealing gold and whatever. But that's the gist of what happened. This one is kind of weird. So this book was written a few years after the second one, and it takes place just a couple days after the second one ended, which took me a minute to be like, oh, okay, sure, it's just a continuation. And there's going to be a fourth one. The book now ties together that other prequel series. So you didn't have to read any of the prequel before this, but now it's to the point that you should go back and read it in order to see where the fourth one is going to go. I haven't read it, so obviously I need to. I will. I think I gave it about like I gave it a 3.75 or a 4 star. I want to say I gave it 3.75. I mean, it's a thriller. It's basically kind of like Jurassic Park minus the park and not dinosaurs. It's prehistoric creatures that are still gonna flay you. It's good. It's quick. It's like 500 something pages, but it reads so fast. So I don't know. It's worth it. It's worth it still in the end. So I'm starting a thing for the new year that I actually read my book of the month in the month that I get it, and I'm starting off with December's book, which is We Who Will Die by Stacia Stark. It's really good. I don't want to give away a ton of spoilers or anything, obviously, but the premise is very heavily inspired by Roman Colosseums, and I would also argue that it's inspired by Julius Caesar and Brutus and being stabbed in the back because Caesar must die, that sort of thing. The ruling class in this, it's kind of interesting. So the ruling class is vampires, and there below them is sigil-born humans. And within the sigil-born, there is classes of bronze, silver, and gold, obviously going up. The sigil-born have magical abilities of different types. Obviously, the gold are going to be stronger, they're more desirable, have stronger abilities, better abilities, different abilities. So our main character is a sigil-born, except that she is looked down upon because her sigil, it's like something that I'm not entirely sure, it's on their forehead, so I assume it's like some ribbony type thingies on their head, I don't know, or like something in the middle. But hers didn't grow. And so, although she is a gold, her sigil is very small, so she's kind of looked down on. Below the sigil-born humans are the mundanes, which are your basic-ass humans who can't do anything. Your subclass, essentially. So everything is ruled by the vampire emperor, and he has 2 sons, and there's this war going on. He is obsessed with conquering and taking other lands. He is our Caesar character. So she ends up getting kind of conned and talked into entering this Colosseum tournament type thing. I don't know what the words I'm going to look for. A tournament. And she makes a friend. There's some vampires. There's some sigil-borns. Her mentor is there with her. She also has this very... Arabelle is her name. Arabelle, I'm going to say Arabelle, like Arabelle better, but she's very strongly, stubbornly opinionated and has a sense of justice that she must fight against. And she makes a pact with a vampire, which is how she ends up in the tournament. and the vampire asks her to kill the emperor. So it's basically her trial of she's now under the vampire's control until she kills the emperor, and what that means, while there's also like a rebellion happening in the background. There's a whole secondary story of love loss and then found again. She struggles with her confidence because she lost her best friend in a tournament and she blames herself for it. And it's just, she ends up finding a new friend who's really awesome. God, I love her friend, Mava. She's super awesome. There's really great creatures in here. There are centaurs and griffins and pixies. There's a whole slew of creatures. They are seen as subpar as well. They all have magical abilities of some sort. The emperor wants to round them up and kill them all, or use them in his Colosseum for sport, like you would see lions in the Colosseum. Not that we would have seen them, but lions were in the Colosseum. So anyway, I'd say the first 50 or so pages, I wasn't like, it was interesting, but I didn't feel just like that strong pull, you know? And once I got past that mark, I just got obsessed. Kind of really got obsessed and was like, I don't want to do anything but read this. And then I was up till like 11 o'clock at night reading, which is way past my bedtime on a school night, which is a work night. Yeah. Overall, I give it a 4.25 out of 5. I'm really, really annoyed that I have to wait for the sequel. It was really good. I'm hoping Book of the Month will come out with a sequel so that it'll like match and things or whatever, because I like matching things. But it's good if you need a I'd say is fantasy. It's more along the lines of Throne of Glass, where it's like heavy fantasy, subplot of some romance happening, but there's like rebellion and fantasy mostly, which is how I like my fantasy. So sci-fi pick of the month, say hello to Fanny. Hey Fanny Wanny. Sci-fi pick of the month, well, the next book. This was read for a book club that I'm in with a few friends. This is Alien Clay by Adrian Tchaikovsky. It is my first Adrian Tchaikovsky read. I've really wanted to read his stuff for a while. I just recently picked up in a Humble Bundle like a bunch of his fantasy novels, and I have one of his other sci-fi, but I haven't got around to it yet. So I wish I liked this more than I did. The story was cool. Story was interesting. It's basically your main character, the protagonist. He's a professor of biology, I believe, or biochemistry, whichever. His name's Arten Dagdev. Whatever his name's, Arten. And this is in a future Earth that I'm assuming all of Earth is under this imperial rule, and there's alternative, let's just call it alternative facts or ways of life. Like academia, you have to fall in line with whatever the greater powers that be tell you to do. And our main dude, Arten, is part of the resistance. Vive la resistance. He gets captured after being on the run for like a year and gets sent to like a penal colony on another planet. It's one of 6 planets that are deemed possible, like life or whatever. This one has proven to have full-on life, but it's really weird life. Everything is symbiotic. Like, symbiotic in the way that, like, different pieces will, like, detach and then combine with another. Like, all the life depends on the other life in a very, very weird way. So him being a scientist and professor was sent there to explore the life. There are these runes that have basically petroglyphs on them, and they're trying to figure out who are they, who are the builders, do they still exist, what happened to them, this sort of thing. That is kind of on the surface level of everything. Behind it is really the turmoil of the rebellion and what's happening on Earth and what is now happening on the penal colony. He meets up with other people that were part of this rebellion on Earth, and they're trying to have each other's back, but everybody's suspicious of everybody at the same time. He's trying to toe the line of wanting to fight back, but also wanting to know this because he's a scientist. He wants to know these things. Anywho, the story is neat. The rebellion, everything is neat. The interpersonal connections are neat, but the writing, I found it to be kind of slow. Which is fine. Like, it's fine. There's nothing bad with that. But it was just, I don't know. Everything, most of it is his inner monologue. and it was repetitive. I think the repetitiveness is what I didn't really care for. It was just like ongoing ramblings sometimes. It felt like that to me. I don't know. I didn't love it as much as I should. I think I gave it like 3.5 stars or something. Like, the story's cool, the political conflict is cool, the alien life is cool, just the dude's inner monologue was a little bit annoying. I I hope his other ones are better. I don't really know anything about the other ones. I mean, I think it's still worth a read just because the political things that are happening right now are a little representative for current times, depending where you live. 3.5 stars, not bad. It was a decent pick. It's a really freaking large print. Like, I don't know what it is. This is just extremely large print. Or it's like YA print. I don't know. Doesn't really matter. It was decent enough. I'm gonna keep it. Okay, so my final book for January is Rings of Fate by Melissa De La Cruz. It was my book of the month pick. So I actually finished my book of the month in the month that I got it. Pat on the back, not on the head. Pat on the back for me. This was really fun. I loved the characters. They were good. The characters were good. The side characters were good. You have your male main character who has the rings and a female main character who is now part of this quest. It's, I guess the biggest trope is probably reluctant hero, because your male main character, Daitan, these rings are kind of like the One Ring, where they have powers and they were created in the old age and blah blah blah. They're passed down to the kings. Well, when he's a kid, he's messing with the rings and they become part of him. And so he has this giant secret that they're actually part of him. There is war happening in the kingdoms. There's a usurper in one kingdom. Some sort of evil entity comes back and he's part of a different kingdom. And so Daitan's 2 kingdoms, he has to like find a wife and unite the kingdoms and blah 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 and all these things. Meanwhile, he is trying to figure out how to get these rings away. So he enlists a barmaid from the secondary kingdom that he's supposed to find a wife from. And he tells her what's going on, and she agrees to help him. So he is the reluctant hero who does not want to harness the power of the rings. He wants to give that power to his dad, but he cannot. He is now the beholder of the rings, whether he wants to or not, and he does not. She agrees to help, and now she is also kind of a reluctant hero in the fact that she agreed to help him, but she's like, I'm a barmaiden. Like, how am I supposed to save a kingdom? I'm just a barmaiden. They make a really great pair. It's full of snark. As a millennial whose first language is probably snark and sass and sarcasm and everything else, cliche as that may be, this was fun. I really enjoyed it. The banter is great. The only thing that kind of slightly irked me is the back and forth of like, dude, does he have feelings for me? No, he doesn't have feelings for me. I have feelings for him. I can't have feelings for him. And same with him for her and that sort of thing. Like, if you would just shut the hell up and talk to each other, have some communication, that'd be great. I don't know. She's also very constantly just like, if he does confess his feelings, she's like, nope, you're lying to me. You're lying. You're a prince. You're lying. Like, girl, stop. Just stop. But anyway, side characters are really great. There's a really cute little thing with like his 2 best friends and like her twin sisters, and as you could probably already guess from that, but I enjoyed it a lot. The end of it was tied up with a very nice little bow, minus the part where there is this other plot point with the evil entity that came back is brought up in the early part of the book, and then it's not totally revisited, but that is going to be what I'm assuming the biggest part for the second book. I think she could actually just finish it in 2 books and it'd be fine. She could have actually maybe finished. No, she couldn't have finished in this actually. So this is part 1. Hopefully it's just a duology. We need more fantasy duologies. We need more fantasy standalones. That's what we need. Regardless, I enjoyed it. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. 4 out of 5 stars. Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed. You should read it. If you need something quick, it is a very fast read. So I love that for it. Anyway, I finished 7 books for February. Pretty happy about that. I definitely had a lull for a little bit. I think the T. Kingfisher books were my number ones for the month. I am looking forward to reading more for February. I'm probably going to dive into some fantasy series for February. I definitely did not finish my nonfiction book, because that's supposed to be part of my thing, is I finish 2 nonfiction books every month for this year, and I definitely did not, because I'm a mood reader, and it's a problem. Anyway, if you read any of those January books that I did, let me know what you thought of them. If you know of any really good standalone fantasies, throw that my way. Throw it my way. Just a single freaking book would be glorious. Happy reading.